what was your original target and did you achieve it? So my original target was to make sure I maintained my parallel position throughout routines and exercises, because I always turned into first, or I turned my knees in when I wasn't meant to. And yes, now I have been able to do that for quite a while. Exercises you took part in, what you worked on and how the exercise was developed. So today's lesson, we began by doing all of our Cunningham technique exercises as though we would do it in the assessment, which is on Wednesday, and that was our warm-up. After that, we then began our end of year piece, and we started off by learning Shanice's motif and we were practicing that. We then adapted it by adding in facings, so all three of us were facing a different direction, and we would then perform Shanice's motif whilst facing these different directions to see where we'd end up facing afterwards. We then got given the task of adding any part of Shanice's motif we wanted to into our own motifs that we created last week. And after about 5 minutes, we then showed each other what we'd come up with and how we'd adapted it. We then began to learn each other's different motifs and, well, parts of them, and added them onto Shanice's original motif to create the beginning of our dance. And that was today's session. How are you developing technically? So I feel that technically I am developing very well, because each week I have different weaknesses, and therefore that means that I'm improving on my weaknesses, and every week there's a new weakness I can improve on, so my technique is getting better because I'm improving on different things every week. Reflect on your attendance, professionalism, attitude, group work, focus and commitment. So today I was late to my lesson, and I wasn't meant to be, obviously, and I was very sorry for that, because I feel that I let down both my friends and my tutors, and it wasn't very professional at all. After that, I believe that my focus and commitment went up even more, because I wanted to prove to my tutors and friends that I do care about my dancing, and that I'm not going to be late all the time, because it's just not professional at all. Reflect on feedback from your peers or tutors. So feedback that I got from today's session was that I come up with some creative ideas for my motif, and that I can pick up some movements quite quickly, and that I'm maintaining the information that I'm given, and I'm able to remember it for other sessions. Identify and describe strengths of the sessions today and explain why. So my main strength of today's session is my movement memory, because I remembered all of our Cunningham exercises that we're meant to be doing, and I remembered the motif that I had created from last week, and that will improve, my movement memory will improve in the future even more, and it will help me when I go to university or to a school or become a professional dancer, because movement memory is key for any dancer in the industry. Weaknesses of today's session and why. So my main weakness for today, I feel, is when we do our Cunningham exercises, sometimes I'm not in time with both of the other dancers, and it's not professional. So I need to work on my timing with them to make it look like an actual piece, rather than we've just been put in a room together. Identify targets and explain how they will help you improve in your next session. So my targets for next session are to be able to remember what we were doing in today's session, because that will help me improve my movement memory even more than it already is. Another one is to work on my timing with my 2 colleagues, because our assessment's on Wednesday, and if we don't get the timing correct, it won't look very well and it won't look as though we've been working on it when we have. And another target is to just keep practicing everything for Wednesday when the assessment is, so that I am able to get the highest mark possible. Okay, thank you. That's week 3's evaluation.